Good morning again, grade 8. We are still in the continuation of our discussion of our topic in module 2. Let's move now to global warming. Again, we discussed global warming last meeting. Okay, has many different causes. Most common is associated with human interferences. What are the human activities that cause or that can cause global warming? Okay, anybody? We already discussed this one last meeting. Burning of trashes, yes, garbages, because it creates carbon monoxide. What else? What else? Car smokes, yes, it's carbon monoxide, right? Apparently, as atmospheric molecules of carbon dioxide, water, and nitrous oxide, methane, and again CFCs, the one that they're actually enclosed in your sprays, okay? Your Baygon, okay? Your spray nets, it contains chlorofluorocarbons. They are considered as the greenhouse gases, okay? The Earth absorbs this wavelength of visible light and emits heat. However, because of these greenhouse gases, okay, instead of reflecting back the heat or the light, it is actually impeded by the greenhouse gases. Okay, they absorb heat and radiant energy or radiate it back towards Earth. Because of this, heat builds up in the lower atmosphere, okay, making the temperature near Earth's surface higher. This warming action is called greenhouse effect. Okay, again, I already told you last meeting about greenhouse effect. It is actually, greenhouse is used to propagate plants, okay? Because instead of reflecting back the heat in greenhouse effect, it absorbs light and it will not allow light to radiate back. That's the reason behind. If not for the greenhouse effect, Earth's surface would be cold and incapable of supporting life. However, the increase in greenhouse gases is also not beneficial to the living things. Take note, again, the more heat, okay, generated or trapped within Earth's surface, the greater the chances that there are a lot of organisms that might die because of heat. 100 byproduct of human activity is pollution. Again, we discussed pollution last meeting. Okay, pollution is discharged toxic or any contaminating substances that may have adverse effect on living things and in the environment to which it is released. Just like the one you had shared the last meeting about burning of garbages. What else? The pollution from the factories and so on. Although pollution can also be a result of natural disaster, just like volcanic eruption, it can cause actually pollution, the volcanic ash. Majority of the pollutants contaminating the land, water, and air are due to human actions. This is one of the effects of human actions. Okay, we tend to, like for instance, we tend to create a commercial area out of a forest or out of the green grassland, okay, because we want more profit in our side. In creating those, we are also creating a lot of what? A lot of pollutions, and we are putting pollutants on air, water, and land. The discharges of factories, such as the byproduct of industrial boilers, smelters, and refineries, and other human industrial activities lead to acid rain or acid deposition. Okay? Nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxide are converted into nitric acid and sulfuric acid when it contact or when it is combined with water. It will actually create sulfuric acid and nitric acid, which is very harmful to plants and animals. when combined with water vapor in the atmosphere. Okay, this is now the effect of the pollution that we are actually making. Eventually, when it rains, these acids fall into buildings, trees, crops, and bodies of water. Not only does it damage these man-made and natural structures, it also kills life and makes these natural structures uninhabitable. Okay? Have you have you tried seeing a leaf um affected by acid rain?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
What have you observed?
Uh, for me, it just looked like a normal leaf lang.
Okay. What else? Any other observations? Other students? If you are very observant with your environment, you can actually observe this one. Okay. I had observed that there are a lot of dots in the area of the leaf. Okay. There are a lot of dots, dark dots. Those are the effects of acid rains. Those are burns. It tends to burn. Okay. Yeah, Joel, it's okay. Blur cannot join. Yeah, it's okay. This is recorded, by the way. So if in case you want to review the one you had discussed, all you have to do is to go to your LMS under discussions. Again, the effect of acid rains in plants, well, definitely, plants is immobile, meaning they cannot move. They will remain in their place for a long period of time. So, tendency is their leaf, you can actually see a lot of leaf scar, a lot of black spots. They're actually burns, okay, because of this acid rains. Okay. Sulfuric acid may also form particles which cloud the air. Okay. Again, please be careful with sulfuric acid. This is really toxic. Aside from that, it can cause burns. Okay. Effects of acid deposition. Okay. Acid rain kills plants and animals and stunts the growth and yield of many crops. Okay. Because of the acid deposition, essential nutrients needed in plants' growth are leached out. Okay. It leaches out and microorganisms which aid the decomposition and thus allowing nutrients to go back into the soil are killed. Okay. They cannot fix nitrogen in the air because they are actually killed. What else? Because of this acid rain deposition or acid deposition, tendency is some of the microorganisms die because of this. And we cannot return the um the dead organic matter into the soil, the nutrients into the soil. So those are the effects. Because of acid deposition, plants become weak and vulnerable to diseases. But because of agricultural demands, humans spray chemicals to protect the plant from these threats. Okay? It is a cycle that is harmful to the health but has been practiced by humans for how many years? For so long, for so many years already. Okay? We tend to spray what? Insecticides. Okay, to protect the plant, to protect the fruit, to protect the veggies from any threats. But this is really harmful, to tell you honestly. Okay, pesticides are really harmful if you ingest it. Acid deposition exposes organisms to toxic metals. These metals are more soluble in acid water than with that normal pH level. Okay, the lead in the pipes where the water flows has been dissolved by acid water, acidic water, which has leached into the ground and consumed by humans, consumed also by other animals. Although it is a reality that we could choose where we want to live, it would still be better if we change the way we live. Why not? Why not improve the way of our living? rather than looking for another planet to live. Correct? And there is a big question there if you're going to ask me about Mars. Mars is a different planet. It has a less atmosphere. Okay? Talking about the ground, it is more on iron. That is why it is called the red planet. Prehistoric organisms which escaped decomposition released huge amount of carbon. This was due to heat and pressure, then converted into fossils or fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, and natural gas. It would have been remained untouched, save for us humans who found the use for them, supposed to be. Okay? Going back to the Industrial Revolution, where energy was highly demanded, humans tapped into untouched supply of fossils. Take note, these fossil fuels are non-renewable resources. Once you consume them, it they will gone forever. It will convert it to another form of energy. Again, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. Once consumed, you transform the energy into another form. Okay? We found the use of them in our factories, power plant, cars, thus started releasing CO2, which is your one of your greenhouse gas, okay, into the atmosphere, which causes now global warming. Deforestation has been identified as the second source of atmospheric CO2, okay, accounting for 20 to 25% of atmospheric carbon emissions to the burning and cutting of 34 million acres of trees. Remember, when you cut trees, okay, there's nothing there that will hold the land. Number one. Number two, there's nothing there that can perform photosynthesis. We cannot actually use the CO2 rather because we cannot perform photosynthesis. Okay. Another thing is deforestation happens because we want to use the land for industrial purpose. Like for example, housing. You want to use the land for housing. You want to use the land for factories. You want to use the land for other profit gaining activities. Okay, both tropical and temperate forests are in jeopardy so that man can make way for agricultural land. Remember that one. Okay, so meaning to say, humans actually did a lot of things to nature. Okay, jeopardize a lot of organisms, plants and animals. The natural habitats of animals has been destroyed by humans. Although atmospheric CO2 only represents a tiny fraction of Earth's atmosphere, it works like a warmer because it is considered as a greenhouse gas. Then an average greenhouse and traps solar energy. Take note, again, CO2 needs to be converted, okay, into carbon and oxygen in the light independent reaction. We can only use carbon dioxide in the light dependent reactions of photosynthesis. Okay? During light dependent independent reactions, carbon is being used to manufacture C6H12O6, which is your glucose, and oxygen is released in the environment as a byproduct. Are you still with me? Do you have any questions so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Please ask questions related to the topic, of course. Okay. Greenhouse gases like methane, CFCs or chlorofluorocarbons, water vapor, and nitrous oxides allow solar energy to enter the atmosphere, absorb it, then trap it. Once it has been converted into heat, imagine we are trapping heat by our own activities. We are the one making it, not with the other animals. We are the highest form of animal, meaning to say we are the one capable of doing this. Okay? Greenhouse effect is the warming the surface of the lower atmosphere of the planet as Earth or Venus. Okay, Venus is the hottest planet. Again, I had discussed this last meeting. Venus considered as the hottest planet because of the greenhouse effect. Okay, although Mercury is the nearest, but Venus is the highest. That is caused by the conversion of solar radiation into heat in a process involving selective transmission of a shortwave solar radiation by the atmosphere. It absorbs by the planet's surface and re-radiation as infrared, in which absorb again and partly radiated back to the surface by atmospheric gases. Climate prediction has been made difficult. It is really difficult for us now to predict climatic conditions by cloud cover due to the increased evaporation because of heat. Okay, too much heat, too much evaporation can cause also too much precipitation. Of course, because there is a lot of heat, there is a bigger chances of bigger evaporation, and of course, it will eventually what? Rain. It will eventually precipitate. Okay, and the uncertain capacity of the ocean to absorb CO2. This rapid increase in temperature is alarming because the rate at which natural selection allows organisms to adapt will exceed massively. Once there is a massive, okay, massive increase of the natural selection, tendency is, when you say natural selection, this is the um, continuation of the strong, the elimination of the weak in organisms, the adaptation. Some of the animals cannot adapt to that certain environment, therefore they eventually die in the process. Okay, those who can adapt in that certain environment or certain biological niche, they can continue their generation. But too much or excessive or massive changes in the environment can cause massive also killings of those species of plants and animals. Effects of global warming. Abrupt climate change has been defined as a large-scale change in the climate system that takes place over a few decades or less, okay, for at least few decades and causes substantial disruptions in human and natural systems. Okay, abrupt change of climatic condition, okay, can lead to what? Can lead to changes in the environment. Number one. Number two, can actually fasten or make the natural selection faster by not adjusting. You remember that animals and plants need to adjust to certain environment. Okay, but abrupt change of it can actually kill them in the process. Earthworms are naturally burrowing creatures that cannot survive when exposed to sunlight. They burrow to be able to survive. In the process of going underground, they create canals, okay, that allow the oxidation of the soil, at the same time facilitate the nitrogen cycle. Okay, cows and other remnants produce massive amounts of methane because of their diet. This is why it is said that the remnants are one of the major causes of global warming. In spite of being minute and seemingly irrelevant, algae are capable of wiping out huge percentage of the aquatic population. One of the algal bloom caused a massive red tide, which can, like what I said, it's eradicate most of the aquatic life form in its path. Okay, algal bloom is it is actually the manifestation that the water or the seawater there is polluted. Okay, the algae actually what becomes more and more and more because of these toxic wastes, killing some of the organisms, okay, and affecting some of the crustaceans. Okay, your red tide. Rivers are nature's greatest dam builders, okay, which can and do change their environment. They redirect water paths by blocking them with the dams made with sticks and muds. Okay, these are just few, okay, animals that are doing their job for the environment. But because of this global warming, tendency is everything changes. Okay, even their natural habitats. Because of these changes in the environment, because of the human activities that actually causes global warming, okay, we created environmental laws. Okay, these environmental laws exist to protect and conserve the environment. However, there are still people who break the law. It all goes back to humans again. Selfish need to get ahead. Here are some of the Philippine and international laws that we have in the Philippines, and we have also in our international regulations. Republic Act number 9147, which is the Wildlife Resource or Resources Conservation and Protection Act. Okay, this act aims to conserve and protect wildlife species and their habitats to promote ecological balance and enhance biological diversity. This is also to regulate the collection and trade of wildlife. Okay, under this RA 9147 is our tarsier. Okay, we have conservatories in Bohol. I have gone to Bohol. I have gone also in their conservatories. That is under 9147 to conserve and protect the wildlife species. Take note that our tarsier in Bohol becomes extinct as of the moment. That is why they are put or they are actually placed in the conservatories. This is also to pursue with due regard to the national interest, the Philippine commitment to international conventions, protection of wildlife and their habitats, and to initiate or support scientific studies on the conservation of biological diversity. That is under 9147. Okay, let's move now to Republic Act 9003. Okay, Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. Okay, this act exists to provide for an ecological solid waste management program, create the necessary institutional mechanisms and incentives, declare certain acts prohibited, and provide penalties appropriating funds. Okay, we are actually included in this Ecological Waste Management Act of 2000. Okay, the RA 9003 or 9003. Okay, because our barangays now collect waste materials from us. Correct? Correct? Are you still with me? Okay, our barangays collect solid waste from us and manage them. This is now under RA or Republic Act 9003 or 9003. The next one is RA 8749. Okay, the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999. This act stipulates that the state should formulate a holistic national program of air pollution management that shall be implemented by the government, encourage cooperation of self-regulation among citizens and industries to the application of market-based instruments. Okay, focus primarily on pollution prevention rather than on control and provide for a comprehensive management program for air pollution. Okay, promote public information and education to encourage the participation of an informed and active public in air quality planning and monitoring, and formulate and enforce a system of accountability for a short and long-term adverse environmental impact of a project, program, or activity. Okay, so your smoke belching in public utility jeepneys and other cars are actually under 8749, the Clean Air Act of 1999. Question so far? Question? Okay. Let's move now
Sure.
to the Vienna Convention. Yes, Adam.
I said none.
Okay. Let's move now to the Vienna Convention. Okay, often called as the Framework Convention. The Vienna Convention serves as the framework for efforts to protect the globe's ozone layer. Okay, it became the first convention of any kind to achieve global ratification in 1988. Okay, the objectives of this convention were: number one, to promote cooperation by means of systematic activities on the ozone layer. Okay, take note. remember that your ozone layer is the one who protects you with ultraviolet rays. Without the ozone layer, we cannot actually have a protection against ultraviolet rays or UV rays from the sun. The second one is to adopt legislative and administrative measures against activities like having adverse effect on the ozone layer. Okay? The Montreal Protocol under the convention allowed countries to take concrete actions to control ozone depleting substances. Okay? Let's move now to the Montreal Protocol. Okay? It is an international treaty, okay, aimed at eliminating the production and consumption of ozone depleting substances. Okay? One good example of this is your Freon. Okay? Originally signed in 1987, it has been amended in 1990 and 1992. Okay? By 2000, CFCs, halons, carbon tetrachloride, and methyl chloroform had been phased out because it can actually damage the ozone layer. Emission of these substances into the atmosphere significantly depletes the stratospheric ozone layer that shields Earth from UV radiation. Okay. Let's move now to Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol are called for requiring countries to stabilize the GHG emission as opposed merely encouraging them. Okay, the Kyoto Protocol is best known for the emission trading on the carbon market. Okay, this trading allowed countries that have emission units that are permitted to them but not used to sell excess capacity of the countries over their targets. Okay, the Clean Development Mechanism is also part of the protocol, which stipulates sustainable development and emission reductions, as well as giving industrialized countries some flexibility in how they meet their emission or reduction or limiting targets or limitation targets. Joint implementation allows a country with the emission reduction commitment under the protocol to earn commission reduction units or ERUs of 1 ton of CO2 from an emission reduction or emission removal project in other party, which can be counted towards the meeting its target or towards meeting its target. Okay, this actually acts or this actually Kyoto Protocol help us in our emissions. It is actually talking about the industrial emissions that we have came from our factories, came from our cars. Okay, in signing, because we signed with this protocol, okay, we are actually mandated to control or to limit our target or to reduce our emissions. This is the reason behind. Okay, I think we had discussed a lot today. Okay, and please bear in mind that this is actually part of your first periodical tests. Okay, your first periodical test is fast approaching. It is 14, 15, and 16, I think. Yeah, it's 14, 15, and 16. That's next week. Okay. Reminders for everybody. Please remind your parents to settle your accounts ASAP. Okay. In order for us also not to have a problem in taking your exam. Right? Do you have any questions so far? Questions so far? Questions? Okay. By next meeting, hopefully also we can have the series of activities, okay, relating to module 2, right? I think that will do all for today, class. Thank you for your participation. We had done a lot today, and hopefully by next meeting we can have the activities, right? Have a nice day, grade 8. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Chair.
Fine, thank you.